Whispers of Passion, a forbidden romance. The city of New York was alive with its restless energy, neon lights painting the night sky, and the constant hum of taxis and conversations filling the streets. In the midst of all that chaos, Emily Carter often found herself feeling strangely alone, as if the city's size swallowed her into invisibility. She had grown up in Los Angeles, chasing dreams of writing stories that touched hearts, and when she moved to New York, she thought she was running toward a future filled with inspiration and success. But success came slowly, like a hesitant guest knocking at the door. At 27, she was still working in a small publishing office by day and scribbling her own stories by night, pouring her emotions into words she wasn't sure anyone would ever read. Her closest friend, Anna, often teased her, telling her she was a hopeless romantic waiting for a love that belonged in the novels she cherished. Emily laughed it off, but deep inside, she longed for a connection that could change her life. That longing began to stir into reality the night she met Ryan Mitchell. Ryan was not the kind of man you easily ignored. Tall, broad-shouldered, with sharp blue eyes that seemed to notice everything, he carried an aura of quiet authority mixed with vulnerability. He was a successful architect, someone whose name occasionally appeared in design magazines, but to Emily, he was simply a stranger who walked into her life in the most unexpected way. It was at a charity gala her boss had dragged her to, an event Emily had no interest in attending. She had been standing awkwardly by the refreshment table, wishing the evening would end quickly, when Ryan appeared beside her. He smiled, a little amused, and asked if she was as bored as he was. That simple question sparked a conversation that flowed as if they had known each other for years. They talked about books, about art, about how the city could both inspire and exhaust them. When Emily laughed at one of his witty remarks, Ryan looked at her in a way that made her feel seen, truly seen, for the first time in a long while. But it wasn't until the very end of the night that Emily learned the truth about him. Ryan was engaged. His fiancée, Claire, was a woman from a wealthy New York family, someone who belonged in the glittering world of galas and business deals, someone Emily felt she could never compare herself to. When Emily discovered this, her heart sank. She promised herself she would never let her feelings cross into dangerous territory. Yet promises of the heart are fragile things. Days turned into weeks, and fate seemed to pull them together again and again. Ryan visited her office once, delivering blueprints for a collaboration between his firm and her publishing house, and the sight of him standing in her workplace made her pulse race. They started exchanging emails, casual at first, about books or exhibitions, then deeper, about life, fears, dreams. Emily tried to convince herself it was harmless, but every time her phone buzzed with a new message from him, she felt a thrill that was anything but harmless. She told Anna once, in a whisper, that she thought she might be falling for someone she shouldn't. Anna's advice was firm. Walk away before you get hurt. But Emily couldn't. Something about Ryan's presence drew her in, as if he carried secrets beneath his calm surface, secrets that called to her own hidden loneliness. One evening, Ryan invited her to see one of his architectural projects, a building he had poured his soul into. It was nearly midnight when they stood together on the rooftop, the skyline stretching endlessly before them, glittering like 1,000 promises. He spoke about how he built spaces not just with steel and glass, but with the belief that architecture could shape the way people lived and loved. Emily listened, captivated, and when their eyes met under the New York stars, silence fell between them, charged and fragile. For a moment, she thought he would lean in and kiss her, but he didn't. Instead, he whispered that sometimes the heart wants what it knows it cannot have. That whisper haunted Emily. It followed her in the subway, in her apartment, even in her dreams. She tried to bury herself in work, tried to silence the longing that grew stronger each day, but when Ryan was near, all her resolve melted. Their story became a dance of closeness and restraint, of stolen glances in crowded rooms, of conversations that meant more than they admitted. And yet, beneath the growing affection, there was a shadow of danger. Emily started noticing things about Ryan that didn't add up. Phone calls he ignored, moments when he seemed lost in thought, the flicker of pain that crossed his face when Claire's name came up. One evening, when she accidentally ran into him in Central Park, he confessed part of the truth. His engagement to Claire was not built